I'm going to go to this lady first, and then you, sir.
She always beats me out.
Michelle O'Neill, Danville. First of all, we're still in the 2009-2010 budget year. That money is not totally expended. I think maybe the number you're quoting, the 55 million, is for the 2008-2009 budget year, which closed on June 30th, 2009. We're still in the budget process. When we begin this budget process, legal RSA states that we take the last year's operating budget as voted by the voters and start there to build this year's budget, and that's exactly what we did.
Yes, sir. Give your name.
Sean O'Neill from Danville.
Are you guys related or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the point I was going to make as well, is that how can you talk about closing a particular year when you still have roughly several more months left in it? I mean, it's still rolling on. I know from history of dealing with budgets that you usually pay year of end expenses, so those kind of line items will be paid at that time. One of the things that I heard in your argument is that you are chastising this school district for returning surplus money back to the voters and using that as a rationale for you to cut further. That right there is showing the fiscal responsibility of this embodiment, so that when they have to budget things and they get insurance costs of 22% from their vendors that says this is what it's going to cost, they negotiate it down to a 13% cap on that. They have to budget for that 13. What if it comes in and we don't have that amount of money in there? What are they going to do? So when that bill comes in and it's, for my sake of argument, it's a 5%. The delta from that should be sitting in that line item and is returned at the end of the year for the voters in the form of surplus. If Mr. LaSalle and the school board were to take that surplus and move it around to a variety of different things, then I could support your argument. But then this board returned, I believe, as I heard before, is a $1.6 million from last year, Jordan?
Yes.
1.6 million, and you're going to sit there and chastise them for giving $1.6 million back to the voters. That's not fair, that's not right, and I'd like to move the question forward.
He's asked to move the questions. You sure you want to do this?
Yes.
She was raising her hand. I didn't think she wanted to dispute what you said, but
You deal with that at home.
I'm sure you will. Okay, the question's been asked to be moved. I'm going to move the question based on your applause. I'm just going to ask for a voice vote. Those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. The amendment's defeated.
Reconsideration on this amendment.
Okay. There's been a motion made to restrict reconsideration on this particular amendment. Okay, you're a little early. Can we?
Yeah.
What I need to do now, in case anybody else has questions, I want to go back to the operating budget and see if there's any other people who wish to speak to the issue. It's on the amendment. I've been chastised myself.
Is it your wife?
I'm not going to get catty now. Are we back on here? No, what happened was we took a vote to move the question. Okay, so we voted on whether or not you wanted to move the question. So now I'm going to take a vote on the amendment. You decided you wanted to move it. So now I'm going to take a vote on whether or not you're plus or minus on the amendment itself. Those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Excuse me. Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. It's quite obvious the House is one way, so I don't want to hear any more about
Get
that.
a secret ballot if we have 5 people to request a secret ballot.
It's too late now for a secret ballot. You got to, you have to, if you wish to take a secret ballot on any vote tonight, I need to know that in advance of the vote. Okay? And 5 people have to put that in writing. Okay? So we've already taken an official vote, so it's kind of after the fact to say now we want to take a secret ballot. Okay, getting back to the operating budget, Article 2. Are there any other questions on it? Any other comments? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make one comment.
Yes.
I feel like I'm very happy that you came forward because,
Did you give your name, please?
yeah, my name is Chris Herney and I'm from Atkinson, and I have to say I'm very happy that he came forward because I'm finding out, you know, I know there's a lot of work that goes into a budget, but I was adding up in my head what you were saying, and it did come to a lot more than 5 million. It came, in my head, it came to about 15 million. So I know that there probably are mostly people here from the schools. And I feel like this, I can't go beyond a certain point. I don't understand these meetings. I don't know what amendment it's too late for me now. But I feel the voters are getting a budget rammed down their throats because everyone's going to go vote, and they're going to vote for this budget or it's something higher. I've never heard of such a thing. I think, what did we spend? I don't know what we spent in 2008, but I know personally I haven't had a raise in 2 years, and I don't have a raise for another year. And I've had to work with lowering budgets. And where I work, we've had to lower our budget every year. So, you know, I know there's some areas where we can't, where costs go up, but there's other areas where we have to go down. And frankly, I think it was thrown out there that administrators are getting a raise. I'm sorry, no. Why should that come out of my pocket when I don't even get a raise? So I'm sorry if I'm not very popular here tonight, but I'm very upset because what are we voting on? Nothing but a big budget.
Yes, ma'am. Give your name, please.
Brenda Kopp, Sandown. I would just like all of you to think of one thing. When any budget is, you're given back a surplus, and year after year, you have a surplus. This past year of over $1 million, I'm a Budget Committee member. I have been on the Sandown Budget Committee for 3 years, and this year I'm completing my chairmanship. I've been to every municipality budget workshop I could do, right to know everything. And I'm telling you right now, when somebody gives you back a surplus out of a budget, they're not a good guy. It means that you were overtaxed and they over-budgeted the amount they did. That's why they had a surplus.
Yes, sir. Give your name.
Mark Acciard, Atkinson. I apologize to everyone for seeming to monopolize the mic. With all due respect to Mr. O'Neill, I have no problems with somebody returning a surplus. If there is a surplus, that's exactly where it should go, to the people who paid it in the first place. I do have a question for this board. I saw the slide a few slides ago that said that Timberlane's cost per pupil was roughly $10,500 per kid.